We have a special guest, Mr. Kyle Thompson. Now, Kyle is a unique person. We probably met 90 days ago.
Yeah, probably almost exactly 90 days ago, yeah.
90 days ago. Now, Kyle has done some amazing things in the last 90 days that maybe we'll cover today, but it's been very interesting to see him learn and grow over the last 90 days, and it's just been interesting. Now, one thing I'll say to this is not everybody gets it quickly. I'll say that. That's my disclaimer. But it can happen. It can happen. So, I think it's been about 80 days, 70 days, 70, 80 days.
Yeah, it's probably been, I think I looked back, it was funny, I looked back to see when you texted me to book the call, or like to book the call, because I booked the call and then you were like, let's hop on tomorrow the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's been either just under 90, something like that, call it 90 days.
So, Kyle's been one of those people, so I tweeted out the other day that we've had 2 students get 7-figure deals in under 90 days. And Kyle's one of them. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other one is Daniel, who I haven't done an interview yet. I got an interview with him. But he got a 7-figure contract like in 40 days, 45 days, something like that. That was super quick. It doesn't very happen. This never happened before you two. We've been doing this for a long time. So I think we got 2 people to do it in 90 days within 6 months of each other.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
Keep in mind, I was negotiating that deal probably since the first 2 weeks that I had started.
Yeah, so he negotiated the deal for 2, 3 weeks, and he negotiated the hell out of that deal.
The seller was 88 years old. Everything had to be relayed to him in person. He wouldn't even just take a phone call to get information. So,
I remember this one. You were like, every negotiation took like 3 days.
Longer. Every negotiation took at least 7 days, at least. So, like when I first joined Hive, I found this one, and it was like when you guys had first introduced, like, hey, we'll do long tracks as long as they hold it. And then I was like, okay. So I pitched it, and even the agent told me, he's like, seller's not going to go for it. He's not going to go for it. I was like, well, he's got to hold it for at least 12 months, and he's got to sell the finance. And he's like, he's not going to go for it. He's an old man. He's not going to do it. He called me 2 weeks later, and he goes, Kyle, good news. The seller's interested in your offer. He just wants a little bit more down payment, but he's okay with 0% interest. I'm like, well, what does he want? And then it was only like an extra 7%. I offered 10% down. He wanted like 17% down. And then he goes, hey, Kyle, there's also another off-market track right across the street. And I looked at it, and I was like, well, half of it's flood. So as I was doing more research, I was like, oh, shit. There's a wastewater sewer plant behind this. So I called the company, and I was like, hey, would we be able to tap into this? And then I kind of explained what we wanted to do with the project if we were able to get sewer. And he was like, yeah, I don't see a problem. And I sent him like a Loom video. He's like, yeah, like I don't see a problem. It's right there. It's like 1,000 feet. So that's a little quick synopsis of kind of the negotiation and kind of what I spotted. And he ended up adding that second track in there for even cheaper because of the flood, but it lowered our price per acre. And it didn't increase our down payment.
Yeah, stayed the same.
Yeah.
So one thing that's funny about this deal is we took it to Anthony, and what did Anthony say?
He was like, hell no.
He was like, it's ugly. And then I told Kyle, I'm like, yes, it is ugly, but if you get great terms, it turns an ugly deal into a good deal. And that's what I told him. And he went to work on getting the terms, and he got amazing terms.
Yeah.
Is this the one with 3-year solar finance?
Yeah. So he ended up giving us. So this is the one we also learned some sauce on. I'm not an accountant, but we learned a little bit of. I wouldn't call it sauce. The only thing we need to know is that sellers, if we're doing 0% seller finance, they're supposed to allocate some sort of that monthly payment towards interest. But that's for themselves. That's for their taxes. That's not for us to disclose. So that's for them to kind of figure out with their, financial advisor. But anyway, the seller was like, okay, well, we'll take just the minimum interest that the IRS recommends for this type of loan. And it was a 3-year balloon. So, I mean, we're paying like almost nothing in interest again, compared to what our ROI is going to be. So,
What was the purchase price on this one? Like 2.8?
it was like 3 million or like just over 3 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a good deal. It's a good deal. But I'm excited about this. And one thing that we always tell people, especially with longer deals like this, is that it's going to take time. It's going to take 12 to 16 months to produce this. And
Seller gave us 18 months.
So Kyle negotiated that up front. So especially with these longer entitlement deals, we're trying to pick up other stuff versus entitlements. Kind of pick up more regular deals than entitlements, because entitlements take a lot longer and take a lot more capital intensive. But we are, like I said, we look at it if it's the right opportunity and if we get the right terms, hey, we'll look into it. So I think this one, you negotiated like $15,000 of earnest money
For the first 12 months.
for the first 12 months.
It's like 13,500 for the first 12 months.
Which, if you can get a multi-million-dollar deal with $13,000 for 12 months, I don't know if you can negotiate any better than that.
It's crazy. I mean, the seller's 88 years old, and he's letting us hold the property. Obviously, he's not sitting there. We're doing work.
We're doing work during that time.
The engineering and stuff, but he's letting us hold the property for 12 months for $13,000.
So think about this. So most people that invest in real estate, they're always trying to buy then value add. So if you buy a house, I'm going to turn it into a flip, put $20,000 into it, and then flip it. Essentially, we're doing that same process, but we're value adding while we're under contract. And then we purchase at the end of it. So we've increased the value of our end product, and then we buy it. So we have a lot better terms. We can get a better ROI with our capital, and it gives us a lot of leverage. And especially with time involved, property appreciates, we get that upside for however long we contract it, or we have the upside into the seller financing and the due diligence period. So big land and long timelines they work well in your favor, and you can pay ARV, whatever it is, right? Whatever it's worth. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, as long as you get seller financing. This is one of the beautiful things about seller financing, is you could pay their price, even a little bit of buffer room, overpriced, and still make a great deal happen with seller financing because you're not having to bring a bank involved.
So let's backtrack just 1 second. For those of you that just don't know what an entitlement is, entitlement's where you take a piece of land and you work with your local county or city that has jurisdiction over there, and we prefer to work with a civil engineering firm. And what they do is they do all the studies. They work with the county to kind of approve the plans for maybe a residential subdivision for housing, or maybe multifamily, commercial, whatever it might be, industrial. So obviously we're in the residential space, so that's what we do. And that's the plan with this property, is we're working with the county to get approvals for a residential subdivision.
Yeah, but this is just one of the deals you got. I think we're still waiting one. We're supposed to contract.
Yeah, Monday should be go under contract for a bread and butter deal.
Like 30 acres, 38
yeah,
acres.
Yeah, it's like 38 acres. So we'll do like 12.5 acre lots, 50 cents on the dollar at list price. So that one was just sitting on the MLS. Actually, that one was a little bit fresh.
Both are on the MLS, right?
Both were on the MLS.
Both are on the MLS. So this is one of the beauties about our strategy, is we can pick off deals off the MLS. There's one of the big things we always look for is a price or finance arbitrage, or even like a lot acreage arbitrage. Mm-hmm. And I think you found one or all of those on both of those.
Yeah.
So, and stuff just sits in the MLS. So if you get an eye for it, you can make some money on it for sure. So under 90 days, hopefully 2 deals by Monday. One 7-figure deal.
One multi 6-figure.
One multi 6-figure.
But that one's like probably 90 days or less on that one. So obviously that's most ideal, right? Is, less time, even if it's, you make less money. These entitlements, they're big money, but it's higher risk and it just takes more time. So the bread and butter is obviously these subdivides. But like Daniel said, if you guys are getting good terms,
Who
just
knows?
send it over. Send it over.
knows?
Let's look at it. Let's take a look at it, because like Daniel said, that seller financing just changes the game, because you got to think about land. Most of the time it's appreciating over time. It's not depreciating. So It's just the asset classes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is Kyle's results in the last 90 days. Like I said, it depends on who you are an individual. And I think Kyle's relentless as far as trying to get some action and trying to get a deal done. I commend him for putting in the work and putting the effort to get these results, because it was definitely all him. It was definitely all him, and he knows what work he put in to get those results.
Right.
He knows. So, what other things have you learned in the last 90 days in general? Because one thing that's unique about Kyle is Kyle started real estate a year and some change ago. So he's like 15 months in the game.
Yeah.
16 months in the game. So he's been, like I said, he's been hanging around us for 90 days or so. What has been like your educational epiphanies that have happened over the last 90 days?
So I think the one thing that kind of blew my mind was, the entitlement's cool. It's a cool deal that I got. Honestly, the fun part was the turns. But really, what blew my mind when I first learned about Hive Mind and what these guys do is like the 10-acre subdivide plays where we're like no money out of pocket to double our money. That blew my mind, that I was making like 10, 15, 20 grand assignment fee, sometimes a little bit more on a house. And I could make 10x that money on a quick 10-acre subdivide in maybe the same amount of time. But with still none of my own money out of my pocket.
So one thing that I love about land is because you have the ability to ask for longer timelines, and they're not out of bounds in most cases. So by you asking for a longer timeline, you actually have the ability to value add even up to the point of selling before you have to put up a significant amount of money to even purchase it. Mm-hmm. So land is the only asset class you can actually pay the seller off with their own property.
Yep.
You can't do that with any other asset class. You can't buy 50 units of apartments and you need to put 10% down. You can't sell 5 units.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's all one package. But if you buy 50 acres, you can 100% sell 10 acres off of that, and that can be your down payment to your seller.
Exactly.
So you have the unique ability to creatively put together a deal with little to no money out of pocket just by negotiating.
So yeah, that was one thing that I learned that just blew my mind. I learned that right off the bat, and obviously, that's why I worked so hard to get a deal and start getting deals done, was just because of learning that concept like right off the bat. But just learning about notes and just how to value seller financing and how to value balloons. And of course, I already knew the concept about seller finance, but not knowing how to actually put a value on what that looks like and what it can do, and especially in the land space, because of just talking about the appreciation. So it just blew my mind that a seller is just going to give us 0% seller finance on honestly, most cases, if they're open to seller finance, they're going to give us 0%. Like 85% of the time, like they're going to give us 0%.
Yeah, one thing I harp on with land, especially big land, is you can get some type of seller financing on every deal. Whether it's 90% or 20%, it doesn't really matter. You can get some type of seller financing on it. You just got to ask and drill into it, because a lot of these sellers have equity. So you really got to ask the tough questions. One thing I want to ask you was, if you guys are interested in notes, what book did I tell you to get to learn more about notes?
It was Invest in Debt.
Invest in Debt. So for everybody listening, if you want to learn about seller financing and notes and balloons and all that stuff and how to value it, Invest in Debt by Jimmy Napier. It's one of my favorite books.
Simple.
It's very
short
simple.
read.
Very simple, very short read, and it's very informational.
So maybe we'll put the link in the description, but the 10 BII calculator too.
Yeah, 10 BII.
$5 on the App Store.
$5.99. It's priceless. Priceless. If you guys have been watching my content, if you see stuff I do live in person on the weekly calls, I pull that calculator out a lot. I use it a lot. I'm very proficient with it. I can punch out numbers pretty quickly, and I can find out ROI and time value of money, and it's a good thing to practice with, especially if you're messing with seller financing and ROI and stuff like that. It's really a great tool to learn how to use proficiently. But man, it's been amazing to see you grow. I think I told you this one recently. I don't know. We met a couple times. We talked a couple times on the phone. But Kyle's one of those people where I know he's going to do great things for a very long time. And how old are you?
24.
24. Kyle's learned a lot at 24. I didn't start my first business until I was 26. I was 25, 26. So for him being 24, knowing a lot, he's going to do some amazing things in the future. And he's definitely a person you want to watch out for because he's going to be doing some crazy stuff. I think me looking back when I was 24, or even when I started at 25, I definitely would not foresee what I would be doing now. I kind of have some foresight now of where I'm going, but back then I definitely didn't. But it's very interesting to see young people and their trajectory that they can create by putting themselves in the right position and in the right place to receive information. I think a lot of people, they get so, not necessarily blindsided, but they feel like they know it all and they're not able to receive any more information.
They can't grow anymore.
Yeah. I talked to Kyle about this too. You can go to Instagram and look up house flipper, and there's house flippers that have been flipping houses for 30 years, and they'll continue doing it till the next 30 years, you know? And what we teach about land and land investing, and it totally blows houses out the water. It blows a lot of different asset classes out the water. So I think you have to be open-minded on other opportunities and other information out there, because you don't really know where the cap is. Like even me, I'm learning every day, literally every day, and
it's fun.
I don't know where my trajectory is. Like I know where I'm going, but I don't know what information.
It changes rapidly.
Like I feel like 2024 for me personally, I feel like I've learned 10 years of information. And right now it's middle May. If you're listening to this, it might come out in June. But right now it's middle May. This year, 2024, I've learned, I feel like 10 to 20 years of information that I could have learned the hard way. And I feel like I learned it in the last 6 months. So my trajectory even 6 months ago it went a little bit further down the road.
Yeah, I think of it in like terms of the stock market too. You're like looking at a chart. It's always constantly going up and down, but sometimes you'll have a big push up. Sometimes you'll have like, you know, some sort of fall off and then some sort of down, and then you're just up and down always. But that trajectory is always changing. But they really can't take away from what you already taught.
Exactly.
So,
that's one of the biggest things, man. If you build upon your education, your end result is limitless, literally limitless. If everybody doesn't know, I used to be a truck driver, and I used to run my own trucking company. When I used to talk to drivers, I would go through the hiring process, and they'd be like, "Oh, I've been a truck driver for 18 years," and I'm like, "So what you're telling me is you did 1 year of truck driving, and then you have 17 years of doing the same thing behind it, and no growth beyond that." And then they would look at me sideways and like, "What?" Like, you tell me you did the same thing over and over again, so you got 1 year of experience 17 times.
it's like just a neutral trajectory.
It's a very neutral trajectory, and that's the point. Is it doesn't matter your experience, it matters about your growth during that experience and what you do with it. Because a lot of people, they may learn the information to grow, but they never utilize the information to grow beyond that.
Right. And you also gotta embrace we talked about it today, embrace the struggle, embrace the hard times. Like, you don't want this shit handed to you, man. Like I think about it all the time, of those people that are born into just straight wealth, like just an absurd amount of money, and it's just like the only thing they can find for fun now is to have power. Yeah, and that's all they have fun with, like, because they haven't really experienced struggles and like what a normal life can actually feel like. And yeah, we talked about it. I don't want this shit handed to me. Like,
The struggle and the climb to get there is what's fun. I feel like I put in a lot of work and effort, and it's getting a lot less. The struggle's changed. Like when I first started, it was a lot of manual. I'm gonna do things myself,
Right.
but now it's changed from a manual struggle to a mental struggle.
Right.
It's changed. The struggle has changed a little bit, but even the mental struggle. Like I always think about this. Like Elon Musk is running 3 multi-billion-dollar corporations. Like imagine the mental capacity of that person. Like I don't know. I'm not there yet.
The thing is, anyone has that though.
You have the capacity to get there.
Anyone has it. It's just you got to have that breakthrough. And
You have multiple breakthroughs.
multiple breakthroughs. I mean, when you have 3 companies, you have multiple breakthroughs, and I mean, you got to have the tenacity. That guy's insane.
It's multiple breakthroughs over your lifetime and distance. So, Anthony's a big fan of Elon Musk, and he always equates to Elon Musk as being like an alien because he's a very visionary and he sees the future of what things could be, but he's creating it or buying into it and then making it better. So like he didn't start Tesla, but he bought into Tesla, and then he's guiding it on the trajectory based off of his vision. So it's having what's not there to make it physically tangible. Mm-hmm. That's not there. I mean, that's part of the big thing about being a visionary. But me and you don't have to get to that extent. Like I don't have to. Instead of going to Mars, we're going to Jupiter. Like,
Right.
I'm not. You don't have to do that. But this is one of the things where, like, I think Elon is on a totally different level. But us as individuals and people, especially listening to this, you just need to get. We're not reinventing the wheel. What me and Anthony do, and what Kyle's trying to do, and doing, we're not. It's been done before, and there's a path laid out, and you just got to follow that path. And sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes you get a shortcut. But shortcuts aren't always there around the corner. It's like playing the lottery. People win the lottery, but not everybody wins.
So like going back to breakthroughs, I think of it like this. So you have a breakthrough, you get to a higher level because there's levels of this shit.
Absolutely.
So you go through a breakthrough, you get to a new level. That's your baseline.
That's the new baseline.
That's your new baseline. But that baseline could be badass. Like for that time being could be badass, but then you're like, I want more. Then you have another breakthrough, and then that baseline, you're like, this is badass, but I still want more. And then you keep having more breakthroughs, and that's what Elon had. Elon had it, but on an extraordinary level.
Yeah.
And he just had breakthroughs. His breakthroughs will be infinite, until the day he dies. So,
I have a question for you. So, we're talking about baselines and breakthroughs. Not that I'm retiring, but as I've matured and I've been doing this for a while, there's going to come an end where either A, I have to exit the business or I die.
right.
It's bottom line. It happens to everybody. I've been thinking about it a lot more. Like I said, I love what I do, and I love the product I produce for the world, which is inventory and affordable housing. But I always think about who is going to take on that responsibility behind me. And I have to make sure, even if I die or I don't want to do it anymore, who takes on that? Who's going to take on that mantle? And the reason why I think about this is because there was a whole Twitter thread about the dude who created MySpace. Created MySpace. I think he had like a $540 million exit. He sold it, MySpace, and most founders would start something else and kind of keep doing it, but he just stopped. He just lived life. He went and surfed and started taking up new hobbies, photography and golf and all these different things. And I don't know. I'm not at that point yet. So it's really hard for me to think about what I would do after I'm done. Whether I hand it off or, I don't know. It's just something I think about. But do you ever think about stuff like that? Like
All the time.
your exit?
All the time. I'm like, first of all, it needs to, I don't think you can even set a number on the amount of money you would make before, like you have your quote exit it before you, if you were to do it before you die, obviously. Like I don't think it's in terms of like a number that you hit, but it's more in terms of like either a feeling of like I just feel like I can't accomplish anymore. Like I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish, and I'm done. And like I want to spend more time with my wife or my kids or my family, and that's it. I mean, I feel like most people in entrepreneurship or being in business, they don't look at it when they make these exits as terms as some of it's business plays, and some of them they're just like playing Monopoly and they just want to keep upgrading and stuff. But the people that make exits and they just stop, it's just because they can't put a number on like the value of just spending more time with family, picking up hobbies. I mean, I think about it all the time. Like I don't know, like playing guitar, just like grilling out, hanging with the family, going on a boat, and like it's not even about like drinking alcohol, doing drugs, and like doing all this like crazy stuff when you retire. So it's like no, it's just about living, and just going back to what we were made for before monetary things became. I mean, we've always traded something, whether it was paper money, gold, whatever it was,
time.
seashells, whatever time, like whatever it is. Like we were always trading something, but I think we just kind of we've gotten so into trading our time for money that we kind of forget what really matters, and it's just like family, spending time and having connections and stuff. But money is really the gas to get there quicker.
That's it. It's the gas,
And
the fuel.
like you hustling in a 9-to-5 W-2, I mean, nothing against it, but it's probably not going to get you there to spending more time and with the people you love and doing things that you love quicker than being in entrepreneurship and going through hard shit for maybe 10, 15 years. And then you're able to make an exit, or you're able to kind of step back into a smaller position, and then you can say, yeah, like I can spend more time, or I can take a 1-month vacation, and nothing's going to crumble, you know?
I had that same thought process. So I remember when I was a truck driver and I was talking to one of the guys, and for everybody here that were trucking, but they had like seniority. You have like your seniority of like every job, whatever. And one of the guys, he's like, I just got seniority enough to get a Monday to Friday afternoons, and I'm making 6 figures,
Right.
Because he has a top pay, and he has a good schedule. And I'm like, I was like, how long have you been here? He's like, 11 years, and I'm like, 11 years is a long time. And he's like, what about those guys? I asked him, what about those guys? Oh, those guys have it good. Like, what do they got? Oh, they have Monday to Friday and a 6 a.m. schedule. They're home by 3. It's amazing. Like, how much do they make? Oh, it's like, they make like 115. And I'm just like, how long they been here? Oh, 15 years. There's guys retiring, so once they retire, I can go up in seniority and I can get it hopefully in the next 2 years. And I'm just like,
It's just like it's all like a big dream, man.
they sell you the dream, and it's like, it's too long.
It is. I mean, okay, let's take it back a step. And he's talking about, I've been here for 10 years and they gave me this. Think about putting 10 years into yourself. 10 years into yourself, like hard work, like 80 hours of work, but you're for yourself, not someone else.
Yeah, what you can produce. So one thing you have to understand as an employee, you should bring a multiple on your efforts to your boss / business. So when you work for yourself, you get to take that roles and responsibility and you put it into your own business. And if you don't, you're stealing from your company. I think we talked about this. Like if you're not producing an ROI, you're almost a leech. And
You're dead in the water.
You're dead in the water. Yeah.
It's disrespectful to yourself, honestly.
It's disrespectful to yourself, and I've seen
and the people around, and your family, and your friends. It's disrespectful because you know your potential.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen it. I mean, I remember working on the docks, and there'll be guys like, I would outwork them, and they'd show up for work and kind of just skate by, and you'd see them in the bathroom break. They'd take extra long bathroom breaks, and who knows what they were doing. But
Right.
I couldn't, like, I felt like the day took longer when I did that, and it wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
And I had to be busy with my hands because I would work, back in those days, I worked 10 hours, 12 hours, and it felt like 6 because I was so busy. I was keep myself busy, but I don't know. It's just things have changed since then, and my perspective has changed. And I think I talked to Eddie Wilson about this on a podcast. He's like episode 501, and he's like, he said, I hate the term work-life balance because my work is my life.
Oh yeah, that shit hit hard.
My work is my life, and balance is existing. Balance is everywhere, and that one hit me hard too because like I love my schedule that I have now, and I do love what I do in general because I know it produces good impact to the world. And yes, I make money too. But there's multiple wins that happen through the process of the way I make money. And that's why I like it. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
I like the real estate and wholesaling and land and all this stuff because we take properties that need to be solved, problems that need to be solved, illiquid assets that would never sell for cash, taxes that would be paid up the wazoo, and we negotiate seller financing and they keep more money and pay less to Uncle Sam. Like, I help people transition difficult issues into money. And it's very fulfilling for me. Very fulfilling.
Just being creative, man.
Just being creative.
Being creative is just... So when I was doing houses, and you could be creative with houses too, don't get me wrong, but it's so much easier as price goes up. So much easier as price goes up. You have way more negotiation room.
You have way more negotiating power with a higher price point. I was just thinking about this. You see like artists that paint beautiful pictures.
Right.
I feel like the deals we negotiate are beautiful pictures.
Right.
There are our version of art.
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's a work of art. Like, yeah. I just think it's almost like, just think of the craziest shit you could put in an offer. Just do it. Like, and obviously, it's honestly, you could do almost anything in a real estate transaction as long as the seller and the buyer agree to it.
Agrees to it.
And that's really it.
I just thought about that too. I told my wife's like, you're not, like, I feel like I'm not creative, but I am creative. I'm just creative in real estate.
Right.
And I never really thought about it that way.
Everyone has a creative mind. They just put it in different places.
Like, I wish I could paint. I love painting.
Right.
I love paintings, but I can't paint.
I can't even write my own name.
But man, some of these offers, there's some beautiful works of art.
I can't even spell my own name. Man, I could put an offer together.
Oh man, I feel like I need to cut off the second part of this episode and turn it like real estate. Creative real estate is art.
This could probably be like 3 parts. Man.
I don't know. It's funny, but I don't know. It's exciting to see exciting to see what people could do with the right information. We hear a lot of times about people getting bad information, and it hurts. It hurts when people do that. But it's cool to see when people get the right information and what they can do with it. And I know it has limitless potential in the right hands.
Absolutely.
Limitless potential. So, and even me, like I said, I don't know. I know where I'm going, but who knows what art I'll be making in the next 5 years.
There's something we're gonna learn, and it's just gonna be like we're gonna look back at this conversation now and we're like, damn, we were dumbasses back then. And it's crazy. Like, I look at myself a week ago and I said that, I'm like, damn, how did I not know that shit a week ago or a day ago? Like, you learn so quickly. You're like, bro, I look back at my day yesterday, I'm like, I was an idiot yesterday. But it shows you how much information's out there for you to learn. It's endless. It's endless.
Literally endless. And here's the crazy thing. When I was an employee, I knew a fraction, like 1/10 of a fraction of what I know now. And I thought I knew a lot back then.
Right.
So it just shows you how much limitless information is out there that can be harnessed for good to create your own version of art.
For sure. Crazy, man.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir,
For
man.
part number 2 or part 1, depending on what order I put this in.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. But no, this is good. Meet the Hive with Kyle Thompson. There you go.